probably wondering, why do they do all the racist stuff, like put red on my lips, like the blackface people mocking black people that were hung, including raping women and children and killing them and lynching them? Why are they doing things that continue that when it's so obviously retarded to do it then, much less in 2022? Why are they obviously racist harassment? Why are they pretending that they're more important than the top martial artists ever? Well, before we get into that, and the picture I made about the crow, the crowd, the racist European royalty, the crown, right? The crow is a symbol of the dead. Brandon Lee the crow. The crowd, following the crowd like idiots, cowards, pussies. Wide is the way to destruction, okay? And all the other connections, right? Aleister Crowley. Let me explain to you, we'll call it 9 points of things that must be true. Again, these things must be true. These aren't up for debate. This is 1 + 1 = 2. If someone tells you that in arithmetic, 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2, you tell them to shut the fuck up. If someone tells you that any of these points in here aren't something that must be true, you tell them to shut the fuck up. Number 1, the logical assumption is that they're sabotaging me. There's over 22 witnesses, and psychiatrists have a history of government collaboration. So even if psychiatrists, former counsel, and every psychiatrist in the world agreed and said, hey, this guy's mentally ill, that's not what's going on. There's 22 fucking witnesses who have testified that if they change their story in the future, that they're lying in the future and not the time that they made the video. That's how much insight and sanity and foresight I had, okay? And I have. So it must be true that the logical assumption, the overwhelming logical assumption, is that I'm sabotaged. And it is pathetic that all these people play stupid about it, and they're gonna sit there and benefit about it and pretend that they're better martial artists and they're closer to God and so on and so forth. Must be true, non-negotiable. If they say that that's not the case, you tell them to shut the fuck up. Point number 2. My top martial arts challenge, with probably well over 1 million people aware by now, okay? Going on 9 years, up to $4 million, okay? That shows it's a moral precision challenge, etc., because I said that I'm the top martial artist and I'm being persecuted for my political beliefs. Back then, December 20th, 2013, okay? So, the logical assumption is I am the top martial artist ever. I put my money where my mouth is, and the only universal challenge possible is sparring outdoors. Okay? And tech breeding and ill-gotten gains are going to end it. No one has done anything comparable in history. Okay? Especially not in the most competitive place in the world, California. So the logical assumption, overwhelmingly so. Matter of fact, forget the logical assumption. It's proven, proof positive, that I'm the top martial artist ever possible. Everyone in the future is disqualified because of eugenics, generational sabotage, generational ill-gotten gains, controlling breeding, what have you. Leveraging technology. They're disqualified. We can't, in good heart, in good conscience, accept any claim in the future after all the things that they've done and who they are, and whose offspring they are. It must be true. So if anyone tells you that that is not the case, you just tell them to shut up because it must be true. Point number 3. There's a 50% divorce rate in the country. Females constantly complain about how their ex-boyfriends are losers and so on and so forth. There's countless groupies, sluts, gold diggers, social norm fanatics, racists, new age people hijacking religion. So, are they better off submitting to the only guy with fucking sense, insisting on what is morally precise and correct? Or are they better off following their bad judgment and continuing to reproduce the type of trash that you see all over the world? It must be true that my submission argument is correct. And they should submit to moral precision through me, instead of doing what they're doing or submit to anyone else. Okay? There's an overwhelming amount of evidence. Okay? Including their track record of dating and even marriages. Even marriages, there's a 50% divorce rate. What the fuck do you call that? You call that astounding, priceless, sacred judgment from the most sound cultures there ever were? You call that garbage cultures producing garbage as you expect garbage to produce. No garbage tree produces something that is smart. Garbage produces garbage. Point number 4. The Jim Crow. The Crow, as a symbol of death, Aleister Crowley, the racist history of Jim Crow, so on and so forth, and the royal family, the crown, following the crowd, etc. Okay, are connected. We've seen rock and roll. They talk about sex, drugs, and rock and roll as Satanism and selfishness. They're disproportionately white followers historically. This is something that emerged from white culture. The children of a very racist time openly and are there in a racist time that's more controversial because people like to play stupid about it. Satan is the deceiver. They sing songs like they're on the highway to hell and so on and so forth. So the various forms of rock and roll, sex is called sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Not just sex, drugs, and heavy metal, but sex, drugs, and rock and roll. So the logical assumption is there's a connection between being a racist piece of shit and being a rock and roll fan. Countless rednecks listen to rock and roll. On top of that, they've yoked themselves to racist, Satanists, people who are in the spirits of mocking dead black Christians and dead black heroes that resisted their racist fucking culture and colonial way about them. Okay? Is that the must be true? Yes. Must be true. If you listen to rock and roll and you propound it with your fucking your appearance, for example, and you're a racist piece of fucking shit. Just because you're not in the Klan doesn't mean you're not racist. It's like someone during the Jim Crow who shows up to a lynching of a black person says they're not in the Klan. Okay? So they're not racist, but they are. Fuck you showing up at the lynch thing and taking a picture for and shit. Because you're a racist piece of shit, yoked yourself to racist piece of shit cultures. You don't know who's in the Klan and who isn't because you're all racist pieces of fucking shit in that town. Do you understand what I'm saying yet? My goodness, they don't understand what a spectrum and variations of racism are. Just fucking retarded. Must be true. It must be true that if you listen to rock and roll, you're mocking God, you're mocking me, you're mocking all the righteous that ever were. In a racist and despicable, cowardly fucking manner, playing your dancing to the devil's tune type of bitch. Even in the cartoon in your own culture, the devil and Daniel Mouse, what does he make his girlfriend? He makes her a famous rock star of sorts, a famous singer, a famous celebrity musician and entertainer. You motherfucking Satanists. You racist, white supremacist Satanists who are a little bit less racist than George Bush and David Duke, but racist pieces of shit nonetheless. Point number 5. No matter who you are, if you stand for what is right, women should date you over people who do not stand for what is right. And if it's a gimmick, they should probably fucking, we'll say, punish you severely for pretending that you stand for what is right. That is fucking disgraceful. They should make sure that they're right. And it's not hard to see who's control opposition. I mean, come on now. This isn't rocket science. This isn't brain surgery. This is being the top martial arts here. It's no brainer. Point number 6. The decent homeless person has higher worth than the entire elite combined. Must be true. What the fuck? What does it take to be rich? How the fuck you rich on a planet where 9 million people starve to death a year, including 3 million children, and you call yourself a decent person? Oh, it's okay because your corporate partnership that you're partnered to, who are the main reason they starve, insists, that it's just the way business is done. So if you're a Nazi and you have Jews in a concentration camp, it's just the way business is done. If you're a communist in Russia and you're putting Christians in a camp and raping and killing them in a gulag, it's just the way it's done. I mean, shut the fuck up, grow a pair. That's why Jesus is on the cross. That's why Christians were killed, including women and children, for standing for what is right. You're telling me a little girl can stand for what is right, but you motherfuckers as adults can't? Collectively, the elite have no worth. A homeless person is worth more than they are collectively. Must be true. If someone tells you it's not, you tell them to shut the fuck up. Like, I gotta explain this shit. And you tell them the top martial artist says shut the fuck up. If you got a problem with it, wait till you're on your deathbed and then insult him and God. I dare you. Motherfuckers. And that's not a threat to the physical body. And it's absolutely a threat to their soul. Motherfuckers. Charge it to your Satan game, pig, is what I have to say to you. Anyway, 7. The rejection of my war on poverty plan is a rejection of a decent society. If you rich pieces of shit can't put a few crumbs to the side, when poor people put a few crumbs to the side and then wipe out homelessness, you don't have a decent society. There's no other way it could be. You wouldn't miss that $200 a month if you have fucking over $10 million. You wouldn't miss that $40 a month if you're a millionaire. You wouldn't miss that $10,000 a year if you're a billionaire. If you reject my war on poverty plan, you fucking, whatever is the appropriate name, we'll say, then you've rejected a decent society. And what kind of a person rejects a decent society? What kind of groups reject a decent society? My goodness, you people should be flogged daily forever. Because selfishness, your sadistic selfishness precedes you. 8. If a group conforms, or if a group insists on a race-based argument and not righteousness, that group is fucking disgraced. It is a disgrace. The word disgrace even has the word race in it. Some interesting coincidence. If you insist on your race-based culture and a social norm based on your race-based culture, oh, maybe we should learn. Maybe we should cater to the emos too. Oh, your race-based culture, your fragile emotions, and not insisting on people being man and standing for what's right. Then that group or race or nation is a fucking disgrace, including religions. Come on, must be true. If someone tells you it's not, you tell them to shut the fuck up. You tell them God and the top martial artists said shut the fuck up.